sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. I'd love to tell you it's a beautiful Monday, and I'm not convinced we're on the air, but that's neither here nor there.
Why would you not be convinced we're on the air?
Well, the music kept running.
No.
Anyway, we welcome all of you. It's not a beautiful Monday. It's been raining. Depending on where you are over the next 2 hours, it could pour. So what better way to spend, what is this, the first day of summer, second day of summer, in some good sports talk radio? Let's check in with Kelly Holcomb. He is certainly a bright sunshine.
Thank you, George. I'm glad you recognize.
Yes. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. Did you have a nice weekend?
I did have a nice weekend. Yeah. I mean, everything was good, and son got to come home. My daughter's birthday was the other day, and my grandson's birthday was the other day. So we all got to celebrate that. So everything was good. Everything was A-okay.
Family affair.
Family affair.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Do you think they're tired of you yet?
Nah. They do. I guess I do get kind of annoying at times, but no, they still love them some Kelly. There's no question.
At times?
George, who gave you that free BGA shirt you got on? I know you didn't
You know
buy
what?
it.
It's a BGA Golf Classic. Their tournament was today. This was the shirt a year ago. I don't know whether they've gotten to play or not, because about the time I left, there were like severe thunderstorm warnings in the Franklin area. The radar looked awful. I have no idea what it looks like now, but I know it looked really bad at 12:30 out at Legends. Let's say hello to Parker Kelly, find out how his weekend went. Parker, how are you?
Oh, it was great, gentlemen. For those of you that were wondering, because I know you both were dying to know, I did play some sand volleyball yesterday. And it went well. Yeah. So thank you guys both for asking the question.
Yeah.
That's great. Sand volleyball. I'd keep that to myself.
What's wrong, Kelly? Afraid a little competition?
What do you mean by that exactly, Parker?
Well, I'm asking him. He seems
Afraid
to
of
shy away
competition.
from it, so I'm curious.
I'm not shying away from anything, Parker. I've told you, if it's got a ball associated with it, I can do it.
There's a ball in volleyball.
I played sand volleyball before, but I'm 52 years old, man. I've got other things to do better. There's no question.
Parker, you can leave that to me then.
Let's compare for a minute, okay? He played like 13, 14 years in the NFL.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
and
we know
you
that.
Played college football
at
Division VI.
And George, you played.
Oh, I played nowhere. I don't pretend.
No, the YMCA.
The YMCA. Yeah. I was a damn good player there. One of the top 5 Greek athletes in the world.
There we go.
So, do you have an update with any level of substance?
Oh yeah, we might not have enough time, so I'll try to go as quickly as I can.
Is that so?
Lots of stuff to get to. America's favorite update, Kelly.
Yeah.
Let's start with Dusty May, because it was announced earlier this morning that he is leaving Michigan. He is having a contract finalized to become the next head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. The timing is not a coincidence. The draft is tomorrow night.
So it's amazing to me, George. This guy takes FIU to the Final Four, then he takes Michigan to win it all in 2 years, and now he's going to be the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, can you talk about a rise up the change really quick?
So, Kelly, here are the questions that must get asked. By the way, it was FAU. So what's the
FAU,
difference between an A
Sorry,
and
you're
an
right.
I? Yeah.
Owls.
So
Not much.
Okay.
Owls and
Not much
Panthers.
difference.
That's for sure.
So think about this. Did he simply take this job because he deep down always wanted to be a pro coach? Did he take this job because he just wanted a boatload of money? Did he take this job because he doesn't like NIL? He doesn't like the recruitment on the college level? When his press conference happens in Big D, those are questions somebody needs to ask. I would love to know the answer because look, they just got through winning the national title. Not that they're guarantees they would win it this coming year, but they're one of those teams that you have to put in a bucket and say they got a really good shot. So, he's giving up that for a Mavericks franchise that has been in total disarray from the minute Nico Harrison pulled off that level of stupidity in trading Luka Duka to the Lakers. Now, they did get pretty good consolation prize after the fact in Cooper Flagg. Still, man, this one shocked me today when I saw it.
George, is this going to be like an area of there's a lot of questions when Jim Harbaugh left, and there's going to be a lot of questions when Dusty May left. I don't know if it's because of the same stuff, but and nowadays with all this giving kids money, I mean, I don't even think everything's kind of legal now, but it kind of makes me think Michigan athletics, Harbaugh leaves and it's under, all these allegations and they get investigated. I mean, is that the same thing going to happen to the basketball program?
Don't know. Parker brought it up before we went on the air. Is he sick of Ward Manuel? I don't know. But I know this. I bet some of this starts coming out in some form or fashion in the next 48 hours. And it may well just be simply he wanted to try his hand at the pros.
He's the first college coach to go to the NBA since former Michigan coach in 2019, John Beilein, went to coach the Cavs.
Cavs, yeah.
So we're going to stick in the NBA for just a second.
Hold on a second. It looks like Mike Boynton, the former Oklahoma State coach, is going to get it at least on an interim this year. And that's probably the smart thing. Trying to get a coach now would be tough. And the obvious that you would have gone after would be Billy Donovan. If I had been Michigan and I decided I wanted to solve this issue now, I would have made Billy Donovan say no.
Billy Donovan's mentioned in this article from Shams Charania on ESPN. So we're going to stick in the NBA for just a second because Trae Young has signed a 4-year extension worth up to $212 million to stay with the Washington Wizards. He declined his player option last week.
It's interesting because people with the Hawks say that he was the cancer in the locker room. Who knows? I do know this. Once he left, all that good young talent they've got started to gel, and they were the only team that gave the Knicks any trouble. They've got a high draft pick tomorrow night. That one could really elevate the Hawks, a team you don't hear a lot about, but they've got some good young talent.
And for star forward for the Milwaukee Bucks as of right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's expected to be traded before the start of the NBA draft tomorrow night. The two finalists are the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat.
Kelly, let's run through the great Greek athletes again.
Just don't, because we're going to lose.
You got to include all his brothers.
We'll never get back.
Brothers.
Let's
Kostas,
don't, George.
Alexis.
No, we're going the one that he played with. So Giannis is one. The brother is number 2. Former Brave Nick Markakis is 3rd. Timothy Koutras is 4th, and I'm 5th. Doesn't say much for Greek athletes.
George, I'm sick of hearing about the Greek athletes. You're out on that.
We struggle in that area.
Training camp dates for the Tennessee Titans. The rookies will report on the 23rd of July. The veterans report on the 28th. They'll have 3 joint practices with the 49ers on August 11th, the Seahawks on the 21st, and the Bears on August 27th.
That's the new trend.
That is the new trend. That's how they're getting by with. Is it 2 preseason games or 3 preseason games, George?
3.
Is it 2?
3.
Oh, it's 3. Yeah, that's
As of
how
right
they're.
now. As of right now.
You know, I remember when they started that stuff. I was in the league, and they had started that stuff when I was. It was way back when, man. And we went down to Miami and worked out with those guys. And then, you know, you get more work out of that than you do, honestly, a preseason game. There's no doubt.
Let's go to the World Cup real quick. Leo Messi, Mr. Messi, became the highest goal scorer in World Cup history earlier today. He scored a goal versus, was it Austria, I think, in Group J? So congratulations, Leo Messi. And the United States, they play a game on Thursday at 9 o'clock, Caffeine Special versus Turkey. That game doesn't matter because they've already clinched a spot in the round of 32. I think as of right now, they might play Bosnia and Herzegovina. I think that's how you say it. Do you guys know where
Tell
that
us,
is?
George.
Could you pinpoint that on the map?
Just this side of Buffalo. By the way, Kelly, we will have a little bitty commentary on the World Cup today.
Is that
really?
right?
I have watched enough to have a little bitty commentary, which you will
Hey,
How
laugh.
about that?
You will laugh your fanny off about.
Oh, I can't wait.
Nice.
College baseball tonight. We did get a game 3. Oklahoma, North Carolina for all the marbles, 6 p.m. on ESPN.
Bring it on.
Oklahoma looked human for the first time yesterday.
They finally did yesterday, man. They put so much pressure on you. If they can get guys on the base, though, good gracious, they present a lot of chaos. And in the first game, North Carolina pitchers were not doing a very good job of keeping them close.
Yeah.
Poor
and their
catcher had
pitching
no
struggled.
shot.
Yeah. He struggled after getting 6 strikeouts in the first inning. Gave up a couple hits. Blockbuster trade in the NHL yesterday. The Florida Panthers acquired Brady Tkachuk, and now they'll pair him with his brother Matthew.
Yeah.
How about that?
This might be a heavier than normal trade season because free agency is a little thin.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. That'll be very interesting when the Panthers play any team from Canada, though.
Good for them, though, that they can team up.
That's awesome. And
I mean, Kelly, if you had a brother that was NFL caliber, you think you would have enjoyed playing with him?
Yeah, I do. I think I would, because I'm sure if I was the older sibling, I'm sure I beat him up when he was a kid. And then, yeah, I mean, hopefully he wouldn't have that animosity towards me when he got to play with me. But I think it would be pretty cool, absolutely.
At the opening press conference, my brother's a jerk.
He's a jerk, but I just decided to come play with him. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
what position would your brother play? Your hypothetical brother. He couldn't be a quarterback.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we could do, Parker. We didn't have enough speed to do anything else.
Thus, punter is a possibility.
It could have been a punter or a kicker,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the quick twitch muscles that you need in the hip area to get that ball out. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was probably, it'd probably be quarterback.
Need a little hip flexibility to boot the ball down the field, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you watched a lot of the U.S. Open, Kelly. Congratulations to Wyndham Clark, who squeaked one out yesterday at old Shinnecock.
Okay, so all of you think about this who watched it. On the 16th hole, he sticks his tee shot in, I would describe it as a mess. And as they're sitting there with that camera angle showing that ball, I'm sitting there saying to myself, you could hit that ball 10 times and not get it out of there.
And he hit it once and got it by the hole.
No. And Shinnecock has some areas that are goat holes. Just be honest.
Hey, George, those that would have been frustrating though, because those greens
Oh,
are on plateaus and they're
yeah.
undulating, and you've got to get it in the right place. Like that stuff is, I can't even imagine.
We don't even know what undulating means, and it sounds
I
good.
know, and I don't either, but I've heard them say it on the broadcast, so I'm bringing it up.
Peter Alice used to bring
It's
that up.
Alice. Yeah, I remember.
Peter,
I remember. Hey, he was really good, man. Did he pass
he
away, George?
was. I don't know.
He was old back then. He was really good, though.
One more thing. Linda Cohn is retiring from ESPN. She's anchored SportsCenter more than anybody in ESPN's history. She's worked with ESPN for 34 years.
All of the
Wow.
women who have been able to get into sports broadcasting, because when I was first coming out of school, that was kind of a closed society. And then Gail Gardner and later Linda Cohn opened so many doors for women that simply were not open. Job well done on her end. I hope she has nothing but happiness in retirement.
George, I was watching this is just kind of a little tidbit, but I was watching a football game a long time ago with Alabama and the legendary Paul Bear Bryant, and Bruce Arians obviously coached, which was me, but he coached with Bear one time, and he said he hated women on the sideline. And one woman came up and interviewed him going into halftime. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I felt bad, and that was like 40 years ago. And I felt bad for that young lady, man, because you could tell that he was cold and he did not want to talk to her. And it's amazing how far that women have come
Yes.
since then.
That's right.
And before we go, congratulations to Pekka Rinne on his induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Well deserved.
This is
Very
a
well
man
deserved.
who once almost bought the house behind me. And when I brought it up to him, I said, Pekka, were you aware I lived, in the other house? And that is why we are not buying.
Good for
And then-
him. That's
and
what
then
I
he
was going to
smiled.
say.
Then
If he was going to buy that house, he had no idea what he was getting himself into.
Back off there, Jack. Okay.
I'm
let's
not
tell
even
you-
asking for a letter grade. That was A+. That
Oh, please.
Oh,
was A+.
Okay. The A+ will be the show today. It simply will be. My buddy
Okay.
Dick Gabriel joins us in a matter of seconds from Lexington, Kentucky. He knows all the stuff when it comes to Big Blue Nation. They got a new athletic director. They got a new football coach. We'll find out what that means. My buddy Bob Kessling, not only the retired legendary University of Tennessee play-by-play voice, but the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame president. He'll join us at 4 o'clock, and in between, perhaps a tad bit of commentary on World Cup.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Gosh.
Not too much. So stay tuned. We got a good show for you. We'll open the phones around 4:25 on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Celebrity Bowling Night.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we're headed to Lexington, KY, where Dick Gabriel has the most interesting broadcast setup going. He also is as wired to UK athletics as it gets. So let's pull him up there and say hello to a good friend, a longtime friend. Look at all that stuff in the background. What all have you got back there?
Oh, I've got obviously Kentucky. I've got my beloved Green Bay Packers. I am a shareholder. I'm an owner.
Yes.
I've got St. Louis Cardinals, my team. I've got a pullover from the '96 Final Four. And we used to have a hockey team here. We used to have a AAA hockey team, the Thoroughblades. They were great fun at Rupp Arena. So I've got my own jersey up there. So, yeah, we got a little bit of something for everybody.
What's the most they ever drew at Rupp for a hockey game?
You know what, George? They filled it on more than one occasion.
Really?
Especially opening night, yeah. And we televised when I was at WKYT. We televised some of those games. Now they didn't do well in the playoffs because the playoff tickets were not part of the season package that the corporations bought. But there were a handful of regular season games where they packed that place. But generally pretty good, lower bowl.
Wow. So you have a new athletic director whose first name is not Jay, but instead just simply the letter J. What do you know about Jay Batt?
He is 2 years older, only 2 years older than Mitch Barnhart was when Barnhart took this job 24 years ago. But he is kind of cut from a different mold, if you will, because, you know, look at where we are, George, in college athletics today. The guy on your screen has got to be as much or more of a fundraiser, more than the old time ADs were, and a guy that could build relationships with corporations and knows the ins and outs of LLCs and things like that. They had just gotten together, put one together up at Michigan State. They had one here at Kentucky for the last couple of years. So it's a new era. It's a new age for ADs, and he fits that profile, I think.
So last week when you and I talked, you told me that this guy pictured was able to get somebody to give $430 million to Michigan State athletics. What do you know about that?
I just know that it happened not too long ago. And that was, of course, the spine, the backbone of their LLC. But, a one-time donation, and all but, I think, 11 million went to athletics. The rest went to the academics at general fund.
Good Lord. So at Kentucky, in the NIL world, until this guy got here, what has been their fundraising ability? Has it been good? What kind of fill us in there?
Well, there's only one billionaire in the state who is supporting Kentucky athletics quite visibly, and that's Joe Kraft. And there's a couple of buildings named after him. He is a big sports fan. His money came, I believe, in gas and oil, that kind of thing. Good dude, loves sports, loves just going to the games. He told a friend of mine that he really loves going to the football games and just watching the game. But of course, people want to come to the suite and visit and shake and howdy and that sort of stuff. And then he'll go home and watch the recording of the game to see what he missed when he was visiting with the folks. So he is a big sports fan. I mean, baseball, football, basketball. His stepdaughter, one or the other, is actually dating one of the baseball coaches. So, he's a good dude and pretty popular, and doesn't seek out a lot of attention, but he gets it.
So these days, any AD that walks in, it's all got to be about fundraising at the beginning. What else will be on this guy's plate that you would know, but I probably couldn't know?
Well, I mean, it's like any AD. What is their legacy? What is Barnhart's legacy? For the most part, the most visible part of their legacy, facilities and hires. And Kentucky's in pretty good shape right now with facilities. There's talk of a new basketball practice facility, right there in Nashville, what Vandy did. And that's what drove John Calipari to start hollering that he needs a new facility. And he and Barnhart got sideways on that because the Joe Kraft Center, speaking of Joe Kraft, is a pretty good facility. And yet other schools have blown by them. I'm told that one school, one recruit came after a visit to NC State, looked around Kentucky and said, man, yours isn't as nice as what they've got down in Raleigh. So, it's just an arms race, keeping up with the Joneses. But for the most part, I think Bat's in pretty good shape. He's in pretty good shape right now. But the coaches, fans were mad at Mark Pope for a while. Now he's got some new recruits, and they're not as mad at him. They're in love with Wolstein because of what he's doing on the recruiting trail. Hasn't won a game yet, hasn't lost a game yet. So I don't think he has to dive in, George, and do anything drastic right now with coaches, fortunately for him. I will say that the softball team had a horrible season. This is a team that 10 years ago went to the College World Series. They won one conference game, but come to find out that in a league that sees Oklahoma spend seven figures, Tennessee spends $750,000 in NIL money. Kentucky spent $35,000. That's all they had for NIL dollars. So they got to make that right. Somehow they got to make that right.
So let's talk about the new football coach, because the one that just left was unbelievably successful. A little bit of David Cutcliffe at Duke when it came to Stoops over a long period of time. It felt like it had run its course. Talk to me about Will Stein and what he's done well, I guess, with the fan base so far.
Well, first of all, he's a graduate of Trinity High School, as am I, in Louisville. But, he wanted to be a Wildcat because his father played here. His father played under Jerry Claiborne back in the early 80s, and he wanted to walk on at Kentucky, and they had no room for him. They were full up with quarterbacks. They said thanks, but no thanks. So he went to Louisville and eventually became the starting quarterback, but lost his job to a guy named Teddy Bridgewater. But when he had the opportunity to, as he said, come home, then he made the jump. And I think the fans are so happy with him right now because right now his recruiting efforts have been so strong. And the Oregon brand that he carried with him and some of the relationships he made with recruits through Oregon, now through Kentucky, didn't hurt him at all. So, fans are excited. I think every time they get a good look at the schedule, they come back down to earth a little bit. But you know how recruiting goes. If you pull a 4-star, he's the next greatest thing since jelly beans. And he's gotten, I think, a dozen or so. And that's something that Stoops did but didn't do, I don't think, quite as well as Stein. One of the bigger reasons being, I think Stein made sure that everybody on staff was a recruiting specialist. Stoops leaned on 3 or 4 people. This guy's got his whole staff out there doing good things on the recruiting trail.
Did you ever root against Kelly Holcomb?
No, but I kept an eye on how things were going up in Cleveland.
Kelly,
it's amazing.
I respected Kelly for what he did at Middle Tennessee.
It's amazing, Dick, because George, everything that I wrote down here, George just took. So I'm having to scramble right now. That's just how that goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was thinking today, and this has really, it has everything to do with everything, but nothing about UK right now. But I just want to know from a guy that's been covering sports for a long time and has been around the block for a long time, what are your thoughts on this new college landscape? I think I'm going to ask Bob Kessling the same thing because, the loss of innocence was probably lost a long time ago, but I don't think anybody ever thought about that. But now it truly is kind of a loss of innocence with college sports, with the NIL stuff, which I always thought that kids needed to get something out of it. I don't like the way it's going now, but the transfer portal is the big deal to me. I don't like the transfer portal. I think you need to be able to go one time, and then then you need to have repercussions for doing that. But like, just a guy that's been covering sports for so many years, what is your thoughts on where the college landscape is going now?
I'm in lockstep with you on all that, and it's ironic to me, fellas, that everything that the players are getting now, fans and those of us in the media, we were banging the drum for that for a long time. The players need to get something, and when we see coaches move, why don't players have that kind of freedom of movement? Well, it's not exactly the same, isn't it? But I think it's a great example of be careful what you wish for, And so I think the mercenary element of all this is the NIL and the portal combined. Where can I go to get the best dollar figure? And Kentucky fans saw Mark Pope get burned a couple of times by recruits. One kid who made a visit to Kentucky from Brigham Young, and then just the other day on a podcast admitted, my plan all along was to come back to BYU, but he was able to up the ante by playing Kentucky off against Brigham Young, and the kid, the Stokes kid who went to Kansas, same deal. It's just, they're pros now. And people say they've been pros for a long time, which isn't really the case. They certainly are now. And the saddest thing of all, guys, and I don't know how you all feel about this, but I really enjoy covering the non-revenue sports. I've done volleyball for 25 years or so. I've done Kentucky baseball for almost 30 years, women's basketball, things like that. And what we're talking about, it's about 2%. We keep worrying about the guys and women who are going pro. That's about 2%. Now, a greater percent are getting big dollars. But, and George, you've been in commercial radio for the longest time. You know what they call commercial purchases when it comes to sports? Emotional buys, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Be a part of the team and buy some commercials. Well, that's what folks are doing now with NIL dollars. Are they seeing, Kelly, the return on their investment? And I got to say, a lot of people are probably going to tell you no. So I think it's going to change a bit. But now to ask the players to accept less with these acts that are running around Washington, D.C., and, players agreeing to a salary cap and a union, why would they do that?
What do you think fans think? Because I've talked about it a bunch on this show, because your age group, my age group, George's age group, we're, it kind of turns us out a little bit about what's going on. And, Parker's age group, this new generation of kids that are coming up, it's kind of their normal. I know that things change. I understand but they're changing so fast. But like the people, and I use this example all the time. I've got a man. He's an elderly man who went to UT in my neighborhood that lives. He's one of my really good friends. But they keep asking him for money and wanting him to give money, and then they're going up on his seats, and he says, "I'm not doing it anymore." Is that the way that the majority of people like myself and you and George? Is that how the older generation feels, and the newer generation just, hey, this is their normal?
I think you nailed it again. And I've heard a lot of people tell me the same thing, or I've seen it on social media. They keep hitting me up for money, and I'm not going to do it anymore because ticket prices are going up. They're bound to go up. And by the way, speaking of generations, How come George's hair isn't as gray as ours? I'll let you handle that later on.
He's Greek.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you.
But I do believe, because you can only do so much, and now it's so much easier to say, you know what, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to watch my big screen, not pay for parking. And now Kentucky has cut its, believe it or not, its concession costs for the next year, which was a pleasant surprise. But any more parking, because they're building around the stadium. You know, George, you've been coming up here for a long time.
Oh, sure.
Kentucky was great compared to around the SEC. Not anymore. And our color analyst on our Kentucky broadcast, Jeff Pecoro, former player, he says nobody calls him for tickets anymore. They call him for parking passes. So it's all exploding. But to bring it back to Will Stein, this is the world that Will Stein sort of developed in. This is his world now. Right. This is his universe. And I think that's why he and his staff are moving more easily, more fluidly. Mark Stoops, I think, was miserable at the end. He sat there in a news conference and said what every other coach in America said at some point or another. I've got 85 free agents on my roster. And he came here to coach football, not to sell his program and be a fundraiser. He believed, like all coaches, that if I win, it'll sell itself. That's not the case anymore.
So George asked you about that, and you just brought that up a little bit. But Will Stein, obviously this is kind of where he is. He's a younger guy. He's used to all this. What are the differences you're seeing? And I know you said something about recruiting, but what are the other differences you're seeing other than Mark Stoops, what Mark Stoops used to do with Will Stein?
Well, one of the things that we got to see a little bit in a little bit of practice we got to see, but we hear a lot about, is the pace of his practice. There are no breaks. They get water if they need it, but there's no structured breaks throughout. Everybody's always running everywhere, and in the spring game, they're running on and off the field. There's no wasted time and no wasted movement, no wasted motion. So I think what he's trying to do is, within the culture there, set the tone for, this is the pace we're going to be working at. This is how we're going to be moving in practice and in games. And I think that's the one thing, Kelly, that's come out more than anything. We'll find out more about his offense. Terribly vanilla in the spring, but those schools that even had spring games anymore, they're always vanilla, you know that. But I think we'll see an up-tempo pace for the Kentucky offense, and I would assume the defense as well.
So my last thing here, and I know you said something about Mark Pope, and the people are they were mad at him, but now he's got some recruits in. First thing, it's amazing to me that, Kentucky used to be a blue blood, and they still are. They still are. But if you got a scholarship offer from Kentucky, from Duke, from North Carolina, from Kansas, from Villanova, you were going, and now you talk about that kid that just used leverage so he could go to Kansas is kind of crazy to me. But do you think, with the up and down year that he had last year, Mark Pope has to win next year, or has he got a little bit more gracious period coming? What are the thoughts on that about Mark Pope and his relationship with the fans and relationship with the University of Kentucky?
That takes us right back to the first question you guys asked about Jay Batt. Brand new AD, he did not hire this guy.
Right.
But I do think that because of Pope's pedigree, and I do think he'll be more successful this year than he was last year if he stays healthy. Kentucky fans, as knowledgeable as they are about basketball, somehow they were blinded to all the injuries that this team faced last year. They lost 3 of their top 6 players for most of the season. Take any top 25 team and erase the point guard, the guy who was to be your rim protector and your best outside shooter. What do you have? You've got a wish and a prayer. But it's Kentucky, guys, and so we know that doesn't matter here. However, if you go back, getting back to the point you initially made, Kelly, to Pope's first team, when he had to bring in a brand new roster and brought in 7 seniors, and all of those guys were at mid-majors, but they all leaped at the chance to wear a Kentucky uniform for just 1 year. And in fact, one of them at the end of the year said, they're going to have to tear this jersey off me. I don't know that he had that last year. I don't know if he has that much this year or how much he'll have in the future. I know some of these guys feel that way, but to your point about being blue bloods, unless they feel that way about the uniform and play accordingly, then Kentucky's going to keep sliding a little bit as it did last year.
Dick, what's your confidence level that Mark Pope will be able to get Kentucky basketball back to where they used to be?
I'm pretty confident based on what I saw his first year here, when, like I said, he had to build the roster from virtually nothing. He had walk-ons when he got here. That was it. And put a team together, had the right kind of guys for his system, still had to weather, he lost his best two guard, lost his point guard for half the year, things like that. And yet they still got to the Sweet 16, and everybody was happy because how Calipari had fallen so short, had stumbled so badly. But you're only as good as, your last game. Every game's a referendum, which is something I really have grown to hate about sports. But to your point, I think that he's got the right kind of guys that he needs to run the system that he wants to run. And that is get up a lot of three-pointers. He's got to get better at defense, which they did last year at the expense of offense. But I think that they've got a chance to get back to where they were Pope's first year and take it at least one step further.
How was Kentucky not able to close the deal with Tyron Stokes? I don't know how much they were offering him compared to what Kansas was offering, but I also know that Stokes is a Nike athlete, Kentucky's a Nike school, Kansas is an Adidas school. What kind of happened there?
All I can assume, quite frankly, is money. I was not privy to the inner dealings of it. But, we thought Hunter Dickinson was coming to Kentucky. He ends up at Kansas, and the coffers are deep at Kansas when it comes to basketball, if not football. So we can only assume here. And Pope called him a generational talent. So we'll see. He'll likely be at Kansas for 1 year, and we'll all find out together if indeed he was. But that also is why Pope lost out on some other recruits, because they were kind of keeping them at, not maybe at arm's length, but half an arm's length, waiting to see what Stokes did. And Stokes took so long that they lost out on these other guys. But they got Momcilovic through the portal from Iowa State, and they did it. Brilliant marketing, if you want to call it that. Less than 20 minutes after the baseball team was eliminated from the NCAA tournament. So all that disappointment turned to joy in a matter of moments. And I had I'm in the media room in Morgantown at the West Virginia Regional. I texted a guy on the other side of the room. I said, what do you want to bet Momcilovic announces in the next hour? And it wasn't 15, 20 minutes later.
Man. Well, that's where I was going next. How big of a get was that? And also, too, he was the best three-point shooter in the country by far last year. So do you see the offense kind of running through him?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about that. I think they're back to we need 35 three-point attempts per game. And so we've already had a chance to talk to some of the players this summer, and they have said, quite frankly, he doesn't miss. Momcilovic just doesn't miss. So everything.
Shot almost 50% last year.
Yeah, exactly. And helped kill Kentucky, helped knock Kentucky out of the NCAA tournament. So when there was a chance they'd get him, everybody pushed chips to the middle of the table, and it all worked out. And then on the heels of that, they get a commitment from a 5-star for next year. And nothing, as we just talked about with football, nothing makes people happier than 4- and 5-star athletes, even if they can't help you right away.
So I wanted to flip back to football for just a second, because I've been hearing a lot of good things about Kenny Minchie. We know Kenny went to JP2 around here, so he's very familiar with the area. Been hearing a lot of buzz. I am a big Will Stein fan. I'm very confident that he's going to get Kentucky football within the playoffs within the next 3 years. What's the buzz around Kenny Minchie? That I believe it. I believe it. Will Stein's a great coach.
Hey, from your mouth, I'd love to cover.
I'm just manifesting it. That's all I'm doing.
And then when they play Tennessee, you'll dog him.
I'll be fair. I'll be fair.
Yeah, he sure will.
Well, everything we heard about Minchie was accuracy, and that's obviously what Stein's looking for. Look, this guy has a rep and has a resume to back it up, that he's a quarterback whisperer. Not that they were doing anything wrong to Kentucky before he got here, but he has a proven record, and he's rattled off names of guys that he's coached at the quarterback position. So if Minchie shows anything like those guys did, now he's not had the pressure of being the guy, and Kelly, you have, sitting in the front of the room. When you're the QB1 and you're sitting up front, it's a different world than the guy sitting behind him taking notes and nodding, yeah, that might work. It's all going to be on him. But they've done a good job, I think, with building an O-line through the portal. first and foremost. The O-line was better last year, but the 2 or 3 years previous was not the big blue wall that helped take Kentucky to 10 wins on multiple occasions. I think they've done a much better job of bringing kids out of the portal. They've got a couple of running backs, one from Oklahoma, one from Texas, who were injured much of their careers. If they can play back to their form, they got a running game. The wide receiver room's a little bit of a question mark, but they've got a couple of really good tight ends. So offensively, I think he has the tools it takes to do what he wants to do.
Okay, my last thing. What happened? Because I know Minchie originally committed to Nebraska, and then at the 11th hour, he's going to Kentucky. Do you have any insight on what happened there?
No, just, you never know. You always think NIL dollars, right?
Yeah.
Right away. But I have a feeling that he got a little bit of that Will Stein quarterback whisperer charm. Yeah, George, some of that. But also,
do it, Kelly. Come on, let's have a unified
quarterback. Yeah, look at the quarterbacks that I've developed and playing the SEC, quite frankly. And you can always point at draft night and total up all the SEC players who are drafted.
So let's close out this interview in style. Clearly, Dick Gabriel is a guy we enjoy having on, been a friend for years. Dick, are you aware that Kelly had to enter therapy recently because of an overdose on country roads?
Oh, gosh. George played it on here every day for 2 weeks, Dick. I mean, it's embarrassing. I got secondhand embarrassment for George.
You were up there. What was your first thought the first night you heard that?
Well, the first night, I thought it was pretty cool. Now, if I heard it every night for 2 solid weeks, I'd be banging my head against the wall. But
me too.
Full disclosure, my father went to West Virginia U, so it was special for me to be there. I'd spent several times. I've been to Fairmont, where he was born and raised, which is only 20 miles from campus. So I'd spent a lot of time in that part of the country, but I'd never really had a chance to spend any time on the campus. I'd never covered an event at WVU. So I was really kind of soaking it all in and asking some questions and things like that. And seeing the people up on the hill and up in the hospital parking lot was just
pretty
unbelievable.
Cool.
And we saw some incredibly fun baseball games to watch. Didn't go Kentucky's way. And I thought the Country Roads thing was great. I always liked that song. I was a John Denver fan when I was young. But, yeah, when you get that stuff shoved down your throat night after night,
yeah,
exactly. I could see where it would get old. And by the way, I did seek out what supposedly was the best place in the region for pepperoni rolls, and bought 4 dozen. Bought 4 dozen and took them back to my siblings, and I ate a few myself. So
those things are legit.
It was really nostalgic for me, but I can understand somebody who's just done with it to be done with it.
Yeah, thanks, George.
You're a good man for coming on here, Dick. Thank you as always.
Tell Mr. Kessling I said hello. I miss talking to him.
I will do it in about 10 minutes.
Excellent. See you guys.
See you, brother.
That's a good man right there. Dick Gabriel. He is as wired to University of Kentucky as it gets. After the break, let's see how much time I got. About 3 minutes of World Cup soccer commentary. You may not agree with what I put out there on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our football night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Papa Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Bill, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises. The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Yes. Kelly.
Sir.
I have watched enough World Cup soccer that I think I can give you an opinion that you may not have thought about. And by the way, I don't expect everybody to agree with this because it's going to come off sounding like the snobby American. But here goes. If we're trying so hard to build a soccer following in this country, why are all the announcers that Fox hired out of Great Britain? Why aren't there any American announcers on these telecasts as play-by-play announcers? And no, I'm not talking about me, but I'm saying there are some good ones out there. The problem when you get the others that Fox has hired, some of them mumble. None of them have any sense of humor. Can you say dry? Unbelievably dry. If we're really serious about trying to grow this sport in this country, then by God, let's use our announcers and quit going to Great Britain and wherever else to have words like pithy thrown at us. Pithy. Let me ask
what does
you
that
this.
even what does that mean, George?
I don't know what it means, and I don't really
I'm going to
care.
look it up.
I don't really care. But they don't have any sense of humor, and they mumble. There are times where you're like, I got to turn the volume all the way up because you get a lot of the 34th minute.
It's 0-0.
On the pitch.
So let me ask you this. Probably nobody's thought about that. But Kelly, on the surface, do you agree with me?
I 100% agree. But like you said, that brings up another problem. If we're trying to get this in our country, are there sportscasters or broadcasters over here that actually know the game?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, then there's no excuse for that.
No, you could go throughout the MLS and find some really talented soccer announcers. The color analysts, for the most part, are fairly obvious, although there are quite a few. And I know I'm sounding like the snobby American, but they mumble and they have no sense of humor. Dry. Very dry.
sandpaper dry.
Well, George, if you want to be honest, you kind of are a snobby American. So, you know, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That seems kind of really bad if they don't use our announcers. I don't know why they would do that though. Why would they do that?
I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I certainly have noticed it. Okay, so that was a commentary for 3 minutes that you're going to say, well, that's 3 minutes of my life I can't ever get back. But we're going to start the 4 o'clock hour in style. Former University of Tennessee play-by-play voice Bob Kessling is next on the George Plaster Show.
The director is back.
Hello again, everybody.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Hope you'll join me, Kelly Holcomb, and Billy Derrick Monday through Friday on 94.9 The Fan from 3 to 5 p.m.
Talk sports with the Plaz. The George Plaster Show. Weekday afternoons at 3 on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
At our university, your dreams don't wait for opportunity. We meet 100% of each student's demonstrated financial need. Nothing should stand between you and your potential. Visit DEPAUW.edu. Future leaders begin at DePauw University. In the School of Business and Leadership, students gain the skills and confidence to make their mark and change the world. Step up, stand out, and lead with purpose. Learn more at depaw.edu.
Get ready, Nashville. The Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix roars back to Nashville Super Speedway, July 18th and 19th. Don't blink. This is the fastest racing on earth with the NTT IndyCar Series tearing up the track. Bring the family. Kids tickets start at just $6 with any adult ticket. Experience heart-pounding racing, live music, and so much more. Tickets are selling fast. Grab yours now at musiccitygp.com. The Music City Grand Prix. Feel the speed. Hear the music.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. Oh, they don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Make every gathering extraordinary. At Electronic Express, we bring the best luxury appliance brands together, all in one place. From sleek refrigerators to state-of-the-art ranges and premium dishwasher, our expert team is here to help you make your home exceptional with fast delivery and professional installation. Visit a showroom or electronicexpress.com and experience luxury made easy at Electronic Express.
I'm Emmitt Smith. Be ready to rescue someone in an opioid emergency. Lay them on their back, use Narcan nasal spray as directed, and dial 911. Stay and continue to administer additional doses as needed. Visit readytorescue.com.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Popus. Our forecast calling for more showers and thunderstorms into this afternoon and this evening. 1 or 2 of those could be on the strong to severe side. Gusty wind and heavy rainfall being our biggest threats. However, we can't completely rule out the possibility of an isolated spin-up tornado.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For the love of the climb. For the love of the fall. For the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
In case you missed Robbie and Rex Road.
I think the U.S. part of this is huge.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, what's more important? Just having it here, but then the U.S. just doesn't do much, or just it could be wherever, but the U.S. makes a run. It's probably the second.
Probably, but that's the unique.
Combo is pretty good.
The combo is a unique thing here, which could be awesome.
Wake up with Robbie and Rex Road. Weekday mornings at 6. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Oh, there's that glorious music. Perfect intro into stat of the day. What is the farthest the United States has advanced in the FIFA World Cup?
Well, the women won it all in '94. I bet that wasn't the answer you were looking for.
Are we talking about the women or the men?
The men.
But Kelly, do you see that anywhere in that question?
I do not. So that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the women.
It's the men. Because the women won more recently than 94.
Okay, so help me with this. I know we have a round of 32 that the United States is going to be in.
Yep.
Is it after that round of 16? What are the
round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, championship, and there's also a third place game.
Kelly, let's go round of 16. What do you think?
That's what I was going to say. Yes, absolutely.
Show us round of 16.
Tough answer today. The semifinals, they did that in the first year of the World Cup in 1930.
And no, I did not cover that.
You could have.
For that matter, neither did Fox.
And they're pithy announcers.
Okay.
What did you say pithy? What did you say pithy means, Parker?
What I actually couldn't spell it right.
Well,
so
hold on a minute. Well, I think we got that.
What did pithy mean?
I thought you said you were looking it up.
Here we go. It's an adjective that describes speech or writing that is brief, forceful, and deeply meaningful.
Oh, okay.
Lucky us.
I'll never use it in my life.
Yeah. So we are now officially into the 4 o'clock hour from our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. Bob Kessling is about to join us, the retired University of Tennessee play-by-play voice. Man, we're going to tell you some stuff here in this deal. Let's bring him up there. Bob, how you doing?
George, I'm great. You guys are asking trivia questions. I've got one for baseball. There is one team in history, visiting team, that has a winning record at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Oh,
I know you. Be quiet, George. You know where.
Yes,
One
I
team,
do.
and I'll give you a hint. It's got to be a National League team because
This
American
is
League teams
so
have got
shameful.
around the bush. But what team has there's one team in the National League and the only team in Major League Baseball with a winning record at Yankee Stadium.
Kelly, take it, Hoss.
I mean, I'd go the Cardinals. Maybe the Cardinals.
I think I'm going to guess the Braves because I feel like this is directed at George.
Not hardly.
No. It is the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
Really?
12 all time at Yankee Stadium. Now, remember, they beat them in the World Series.
Swept them.
Yeah. They won 2 games. You know, the famous line about that, they asked Sparky Anderson before the playoffs how many games it was going to take for the Big Red Machine before the World Series actually was played, how many games it was going to take for the Big Red Machine to beat the Yankees and win the World Series. And he said 7. And they said, you think this thing is going seven games? He said, well, it's going to take us 7, it'll be 7 games for us to win this thing. And so they printed all this kind of stuff. And the reporter goes back to Sparky and said, hey, you swept him in 4. You were wrong. You said 7. No, he didn't. I said, we're going to sweep 3 games in the playoffs and then sweep 4 games in the World Series. That's 7.
I like it.
7. That Big Red Machine back in '76 was pretty good. If you guys didn't realize that, so
I would say the best team of my lifetime
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, you look at how many Hall of Famers that were on that team, and then Davey Concepcion, who, if Ozzie Smith wasn't playing at that time, he would have been the most dominant shortstop in baseball, but he got overshadowed by Ozzie. He probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame too. So that was we'll never see a team like that, I don't think, again. They were really good.
So, Bob, in late July of '76, the Reds are playing a Saturday night twilight twin bill in Atlanta. And by golly, we're going to be there. And my dad worked for American Airlines, so we could fly free. And we go down there, and
that's your whole life, George. What do you get for free? So let's go ahead.
That's right. He's wearing a shirt that he's got on. He's wearing a shirt today, Bob, that he got for free.
I know. They that all the time, rubs it in, so it makes me mad.
So against all odds, the 60-win 1976 Braves win game one of this doubleheader. I'm 16 years old. I'm chirping, we're going to sweep the Reds.
Okay.
Game two is Don Gullett against a cast of Braves retreads. It's 9-1 in the third inning, and Dad whips out an American Airlines timetable and says, if we leave now, we can get on this flight and get home tonight. And we did.
Out of there. Yeah. It was, when I was growing up in Dayton in the 70s, we took that team for granted. I mean, we thought, well, the Reds are going to be like this every year, with George Foster and Ken Griffey and Rose and all these great players they got. It's going to be like this every year. Little do we know. It's been kind of a drought since then, but baseball goes like that in cycles. And, I think George, your Braves right now could be one of those teams too. I think they're pretty good. If they get their pitching healthy, they could really be something.
I hope you're right. So people ask, okay, what have you been doing in retirement? And I can tell people Bob has become the president of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, and I am very proud of the job he has done. Man, you talk about busting his butt to help this thing move in an upward fashion. We have an award ceremony on Saturday, July the 25th. And we've got some people from this area, Bob, that are going to be inducted that you and I want to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a special class. And George, it's one of those things that when you called and some other people called, wouldn't know if I'd do it. One of the reasons that, people might still take my phone call, at least for a while longer. At least they kind of know who I am, I think. So, and that's been the case. People have called. We've got more small markets across the state involved. There's just a lot of energy and a lot of movement forward to help celebrate. I mean, radio has been so important in this state. When you look, the blues in Memphis and, country music and WSM and all the great radio stations there in the Nashville area, and SM, getting the Grand Ole Opry out there to everybody, East Tennessee with, bluegrass music and the Everly Brothers and a bunch of other different things, Memphis with Elvis and all that. So there's so many great areas. Well, I forgot Dolly Parton. I guess I had to throw her in there somewhere in the East. But, there've been so many great artists and so many great people that come from the state. And radio has been, for the big cities, it's been a great thing, but it's also been a great thing for these small markets because they're kind of the lifeblood. And two of the stations we're honoring this year, our legendary station is WEMB out of Irwin. Their station during Hurricane Helene was literally wiped down the Nolichucky River, everything. Their studios, their equipment, their building was flattened, their tower went down the river. I mean, it was incredible. There was just, where it used to be a building, a radio station, there's just a flat piece of ground. You couldn't believe it when you saw it. WLIK in Newport, when they had the hurricane, they have a station up on a little hill, and they could look down into Newport and see the whole town was underwater. Well, it's their job then to go ahead and tell people, where you get food, where you get hay for your horses. I mean, you don't think about that, but hell, these farm animals, all their fields are underwater. These animals have to eat. So they just did such a great job of informing people where to get stuff. And then They'll be honored, some of these small markets. But in Nashville especially, Bill Cody, who left such an impact on WSM, and then Pete Weber, our old buddy, he's going in. There have been some, Marty McFly from Cookville's going in. So Mark Howard, who left an impact in sports broadcasting there in Nashville, he's going in. So there are a lot of great people that are going in. We're really thrilled about the class and really thrilled that we're going to have a chance to honor these people on July 25th at Battleground Academy at their Performing Arts Center, which, George, you helped us secure. We thank you for that. And that's your alma mater. So they, and people that haven't been to that facility, George, that's one of the nicest theaters in the state of Tennessee. It's incredible.
It's beautiful. Bob, I want to throw out kind of this challenge to some Predator fans. Pete Weber is going in on July 25th. And the truth of it is he would have gone in 4 or 5 years ago, but he was on the board. And our bylaws say if you're on the board, you can't be, put in the hall. And so that's the only reason this has taken so long. But I'm going to put out a challenge to Predator fans out there. If you have loved Pete Weber, if you have loved what he has done in this community with this team, I want some of you to show up that day. It's a very reasonable cost. It's $50 for the ceremony, and I think it would really be fitting for Pete to have a bunch of Preds fans there to be a part of it. And so from time to time over the next month, you're going to hear that from me. So, Bob, how do they get tickets? If a Preds fan's out there and they're like, George is right, we need to do this, how do they go about getting tickets?
Well, you can go to the website, and it's TENN radiohalloffame.org. And you can get tickets there. You can send a check. You can do it by credit card. But that's where the information is on tickets. And we're mentioning that the event is dress, but ties are optional. But Pred fans can wear jerseys. If they want to wear a Preds jersey, we'll let them do that. So we would hope a lot of them show up. And yeah, and a lot of folks that used to enjoy Mark Howard too on TV and in radio there in Nashville. We'll hope they come out and support Mark and his family, and of course Bill Cody, his work, Grand Ole Opry, and everything. I mean, just legendary voices in radio. And Bobby Rader is going in from Upper East Tennessee. He had the first high school scoreboard show in Tennessee history. And that was back in the early 80s when, people didn't care that much about high school football if it wasn't your team. But then Bobby got this scoreboard going, and he had scores from all over the place. And then Bobby, of course, past 20 years or so, was doing the scoreboard on the Vol Network with John Wilkerson. John went in last year, and Bobby's going in this year. So there's just so many great names of people. Johnny Shaw from Bolivar, who was not only a great broadcaster, but is in the state legislature for 25 years or more here in the state. So just a lot of names, a lot of people from across the state. And it's not just the big markets, as I said before, it's small markets. You'll hear a lot of great stories too there about broadcasting. And if you like radio, if you like personalities, the people will be there. So we hope people show up. And George, also one thing that we talked about, we're trying to start a scholarship too for a young broadcaster in the state of Tennessee. So hopefully some of the proceeds from this award ceremony will go to help us get this scholarship started, because I think it's a good thing for George, all of us in this business that has been so good to all of us, that we give it back, pay it back to a young broadcaster and let them get a shot to run the course that we've run.
Man, you have been doing that like crazy over the last year. Kelly, what do you got for Bob Kessling?
Bob, with you taking over this, I was just sitting here thinking about this. Since you've been involved in this, what has been the hardest thing that you've come across in this organization that you've had to do?
I think the hardest thing is, sounds funny, getting the right emails and getting phone numbers for people. So like my email changed. I mean, how drastic is that in your life when your email changes? and suddenly all these, what's your new email? And you spend half the day, getting it caught up to your credit cards and like that. That's been the toughest thing, getting a hold of people. But it really hadn't been tough. The one thing it's done for me, it's helped me reunite with some stations and some general managers and other people and radio personalities that I had more contact with when I was doing the Vol Network. But now I've had a chance to reunite with some of these people and, hear their stories. And, radio people, they've always got a bunch of stories. You've probably heard Plaster stories about 30 times, so you might be getting a little sick of that. But anyway, but everybody's got good stories, and it's just fun. It's really been a lot of fun for me to I'm glad George and some other guys kind of pushed me into this, and it's re-energized. Man, I've got time to do it. That's another big thing. A lot of people don't have time to do it, but in between being a Uber driver for my grandkids and doing this, my days stay pretty full. I took my 12-year-old, my 10-year-old to a Smokies game the other night. I didn't realize, because when we're at the press box, George, we try and get free food when we can.
Oh, absolutely.
And you go to the concession stand, they lay it on you now pretty good. Chicken fingers, Skittles, and Dippin' Dots, that can set you back about $35-$40. So you got to be ready for that.
So Bob, and George's stories are old. They're not getting old. They've been old for a long time, and he keeps on talking about them. So I'm like, good Lord, George, we've heard it for 20 times, man. Move on. But here's my next thing. What in this organization is there something that you came across that you didn't know that was kind of cool to you? I mean, I'm sure you've been around this broadcast deal your whole life, but was there something that you didn't know until you went into the the Radio Hall of Fame deal and you found out, and that was kind of cool?
Well, what I found out is like some of these people, I was born in 1953, okay, and so that doesn't seem like it's that long ago for me, but a lot of these radio stations started back then, back in the 50s. And I'm thinking, I was just born in this radio station up in Wartburg, Tennessee, WECO. They're just going on the air. And a lot of these people that started these radio stations were on the air for 40, 45 years, stuff like that. And that's the most amazing thing, and especially in these small towns, just how dedicated those people are to, starting a radio station and staying on the air. I mean, there's Ron Meredith, who's getting our award, the Johnny Eagle Award. He's been the morning man at WISH in Clinton since 1990. I mean, that's amazing, the run that some of these guys have. And they love it. That's the one thing about it. They just absolutely love the business and love what they do. And I've been able to reunite with some retired guys in the Hall of Fame, and they just tell you their stories about how they got started and what radio has meant to them. And so there'll be a lot of those stories at the event on the 25th. So anybody that likes listening to the radio needs to come out.
And this is my last question. This is an off-cuff question. I just asked Dick Gabriel. He told us to tell you hello. So hello from Dick.
Good.
But I just asked him a question, and I wanted to get your take on this because you're an older guy. George is an older guy. Myself, I'm getting up there in age. But with all this stuff going on in college sports, it seems like we've lost the innocence of college sports. Now, I think probably the innocence of college sports was lost a long time ago, and we didn't know anything about it. But we truly know about it now with all the NIL and the transfer portal. So from a guy that's covered this stuff his whole life, what are your thoughts on all the goings on in college sports right now?
The one thing that really, and I played briefly at Tennessee, it meant something to put the orange shirt on. And I think a lot of guys, like you talked to an Andy Kelly who played quarterback, it meant something for him being from the state of Tennessee, Ray County, to wear that orange shirt. I'm not sure it means that much to these guys anymore. I'm not sure that they really understand what they're representing, the state of Tennessee, or they're representing the state of Georgia, and how important, and the guys that have been here before. Now they're just kind of thinking, okay, if it doesn't work out here, I'm going someplace else. There's not that. That's one thing that disturbs me a little bit. I'm not sure there's that pride factor. Now, when the game starts, they want to play hard because it's going to benefit them financially and maybe getting a chance to go to the NFL and winning the game and all that stuff. But it just seems like there is that pride factor that has left college sports, and pride of representing your school and your state. That's left. And that's what I miss the most about it. Now, I might be misreading this whole thing, but that's kind of what I get. I think that they want to play and they want to win and they want to do great. And then what's my next opportunity, instead of, hey, let's do something special here for Tennessee or whatever school they're playing for. I kind of miss that a little bit. I think that's one thing that's been lost in all of this. So, but it's not going back. The horses are out in the field. We're not going to get them back in the stable. They ain't coming back in. So we're going to have to adjust to it. So
I'm glad he brought that up, because there was something I wanted to ask regarding Tennessee men's basketball. Only 2 returners from last year's team. Rick Barnes went out and got a lot of players from the portal, spent a lot of money. Is there any bit that concerns you about this year's team, that there won't be that pride factor, since, a lot of these guys like Juke Harris, I'm pretty sure he's going to be a one and done. Is there any part of that makes you nervous, that there's not that pride in putting on the tee?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you look at it and you're thinking, like Estrella, if you would have told me he was leaving and going, and of course he got a surprise today at Michigan with Dusty May leaving. I bet he didn't think that was going to happen, but Estrella, he was one of the great guys on the team, and he loved playing at Tennessee. And you think suddenly he transfers to Michigan. Well, I mean, what's that all about? So that kind of concerns you a little bit. I think what Rick Barnes has done with this class that he's brought in, I think he realized last year that defense is all fine and good, but you better be able to score when you get to the NCAA tournament. That's more about offense, and because you're going up against elite offensive players when you get in that tournament. So he went out and got some scores. And the one guy I think that most people aren't talking too much about is the Hill young man they got from VCU, the point guard. I saw him play about 4 or 5 times last year, once in the NCAA tournament. Every time I saw him, he put up over 30 points. And if you know anything about VCU basketball, you know that those guys play defense. So I think Hill's going to be a great addition to this team. And I think he went out and got shot blockers, but he also went out and got scores. And I think that Coach Barnes has realized you've got to be able to score points in the NCAA tournament. And so instead of basing his team on defense, which he's loved to do, and he's done it for over 30 years coaching, he's found out he's got to go out and get some offense, and I think he's done that. So I'm looking forward to, and it's a lot different. It used to be you showed up October the 15th, you practiced for 3 weeks, and you played. Well, now those guys come in June. I mean, they've already been here for a couple of weeks, scrimmaging and practicing, and so it gives them a better chance to get to know each other and get to learn how to play with each other, instead of just showing if it was the old rules and you showed up October 15th and good luck being ready to play by mid-November, it'd be different. But, Coach Barnes will be able to figure out how these guys fit together, who's going to play where. And I think from what I've seen of these players, the combination of defensive shot blockers with those big guys and guys that can score, you got to think that Tennessee's got a shot to make it to the Final Four. And I think that's what the goal has been, to get Coach Barnes that elusive Final Four, to get him there at Tennessee, before his clock runs out.
And there will be plenty of defense. Rick Barnes isn't going to trot those guys out there and not have them play defense, but they're going to score a lot more. And that's the thing. I mean, people love to dog on Rick Barnes because he's never been to the Final Four with Tennessee, but at the same time, he's shown the ability to, he's an older man, but yet he's been able to adapt in this new era. And we see coaches like, you go over to football and Dabo Swinney at Clemson. It's not that he's not willing to, or it's not that he can't adapt. He's just not willing to. So that's something that I've always appreciated about Coach Barnes.
Yeah, no question. He has adjusted with the game. He's never lost his defensive philosophy of, you better be able to play defense. And that's, he's got 2 guys from VCU, and those guys are going to play defense. And and if you don't play defense, you're not going to get on the floor. But when you got a combination of guys that play defense and can score, that's the winning formula I think that Coach Barnes is looking for this year. And I think he's got that, especially from Hill, as I mentioned before. I think that young man's going to have a terrific year. And he's one of those guys that can just get out there and light you up really quick, and he can put 30 on you easily, and that's kind of what Tennessee needs.
Bob, first of all, thank you for coming on, but more importantly, thank you for what you're doing as president. You have killed it, and we're getting there. And by the way, I'm gonna call you when I get off the air at 5. I know you look forward to that.
Well, you were going to ask me about my CBS story.
Oh, okay, that's right. Let's hear this. This is great stuff.
George, if you'd show up for our production meetings, you would know some of this before we go on the air here. But anyway, that's for another day, I guess. So anyway, I'm working at WIVK in Knoxville. I get a call in 1980 from Judy Jenkins, who's the news director at Channel 10. She says, our sports anchor, Scott Sams, has just left for a job down in Dallas, and we want you to come over and audition for the sports director's job. And I said, well, I've never been on television before. I have no experience at all. Why would you even be hiring me or trying to hire me? She said, well, because we think you have some talent and we think you can do this. You're on WIVK and we hear you on the air and you're doing the Lady Vol games and stuff. So we think that you might be able to do this. Okay. So I go see my general manager, Bobby Denton, who was a longtime PA voice at Neyland Stadium. And I said, Bobby, they want to hire me at Channel 10. Should I interview? Oh, yeah, you need to interview. They'll never hire you, but you need to go interview for it. And I said, okay. So I take my notes from WIVK that afternoon, go over to Channel 10 at 6:30 when they get done with the 6 o'clock news. And they asked me if I needed a prompter. I said, I don't know what a prompter is. I guess I know, I don't need that. So anyway, there's no pressure on me. They're not going to hire me. And because I'm never on TV, red light comes on. It's one of those days, and George, you've been there before. Sometimes your mouth works and sometimes it doesn't. And there's no pressure on me. And so I couldn't have done it any better. It's supposed to go 3 minutes. They come out and they ask me, what about, they said, you want to do it again? I said, no, I don't think I can do it any better. I'll do it again if you want me to, but I don't think I can do it any better. Did I go too long? And they said, no, you went 2:57. I was supposed to go 3 minutes, so that was pretty good. They said, we'll be in touch. Well, I knew what that meant. I'd never hear from these guys again. So I go take my wife out to dinner, and they call the next morning, and they want me to be over there and come over there and take the job as sports director. I said, what does that mean? She said, well, we want you to anchor the 6 and 11 o'clock news. I said, all right. Yeah. So I go see Denton again. I said, Bobby, they're going to hire me at Channel 10. What should I ask for? He said, well, I'm paying you $10,000 a year. They're not going to double your salary. I said, ask him for $16,000. I said, you think they'd pay me $16,000? No, because I don't think they're going to hire you, but just that's what I'd ask for. Okay. So because he thought it was still a joke that they weren't going to hire him and they had no experience. So I go over to Channel 10 and Judy asked me, what's going to take for you to come over here? I puffed up my chest. And I said, $16,000. She slaps that contract right in front. She said, sign that before you get up. And I'm going, Denton has screwed me. So anyway, so I agreed to $16,000 and they introduced me and they said, now before you go on the air, because I had to give WIVK a 2-week notice, we're going to send you up to New York and do promos with CBS guys. And I said, really? I said, yeah. So I took the only sport coat I owned, got on a plane, flew to New York, stayed at the Marriott Marquis. This is in August. Went to the Marriott Marquis. We had dinner at the Gallagher Steakhouse. All these big-time anchors from CBS stations all over the country were there. Jim Hill and Zip Rizeppa and all these guys. Well, I don't have anything in common with these guys. I haven't even been on television yet, so I didn't know what to talk about. So next morning, we get up and go to Black Rock, CBS headquarters. There are 3 stools. There's a producer and a camera guy, and I've got a script, but I don't even know who's coming in the door. And it says, hi, I'm Bob Kessling, watch the NFL on CBS and Channel 10. Hi, I'm blank. I didn't know. Door opens. Here comes Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire, the number 1 team at CBS. And this guy goes, I'm Pat Summerall, Bob. Nice to meet you. I said, no, really? I said, good to meet you. I know you are. So we sit down, and I go, hi, I'm Bob Kessling, because I was about 5 octaves too high. I'm Bob Kessling. Said, I'm Pat Summerall, and watch Bob on Action 10 Sports, and watch Pat on the NFL Today on CBS, blah, blah, blah. So then you could ask him some questions. So that took about 5 or 10 minutes, and ask him a few questions about the upcoming season, and they get up and leave. Then the door opens again. Here comes John Madden and Dick Stockton, the number 2 team. This is where they matched up Madden and Summerall. And Madden comes, "Hey, Bob, good. I've never met the guy. Hey, Bob." He's throwing me around like a rag doll. And we sit down and start doing it. I said, "I'm Bob Kessling and watch the NFL on CBS. I'm John Madden and watch my buddy Bob on." And he's knocked me against the wall and watch Bob on Channel 10 and blah, blah, blah. So we asked him some questions and they get up and leave. And my head's spinning. I'm going, God, I've just interviewed Pat Summerall and John Madden, and God, this is unbelievable. And this producer at CBS goes, "I think you're the youngest guy here. How old are you?" I said, "I'm 26. She said, "You really did a nice job with those interviews and things. How long you been in the business?" I said, "Just about 30 minutes now." About 30 minutes. the producer said, "You did a good job," and he gave me a lot of confidence that maybe I could do it. So, I took that, and the one thing that took from the experience, every time I see a young broadcaster, I talk to them, I always tell them they do a good job, because I think that gives them a lot of confidence that maybe they can do it. Because I know that producer did it with me, but that was a lot of fun in New York. I was scared to death, but somehow George,
You are a good man, Bob Kessling. Thank you for coming on here, and thank you for all the stuff you're doing.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Hope to see people July 25th to honor Pete and Bill Cody and Mark Howard and all those guys from Nashville. Thanks, George. Talk to you.
We're going to work on that. See you, Bob.
Okay,
He's done a terrific job. He has gotten more stations, a lot of them in East Tennessee, involved in the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. It has really been pretty heartwarming to watch. You will hear me over the next month banging away about this this induction ceremony. We want to get a really good crowd to this. Anyway, here's something that has fired me up. Not the broadcasters on the World Cup, but over the last couple of weeks, we have had a ton of phone call participation. And I laughingly put out we're looking for 4 red-blooded Americans. And I guess we are. The number 4, because that's how many phone lines we have. So, Kelly, we're looking for 4 red-blooded Americans right now who have strong opinions about something in the world of sports. Can you handle that?
It would be nice if somebody had some strong opinions about you when they called in.
Wow.
That'd be
I'm not
great.
sure we
That would
need
be.
that.
We need to rocket them to number 1 on the list.
Yeah, that would make your day, wouldn't it? Okay, 615-759-9949. One more time, 615-759-9949. I'm looking for 4 of you, red-blooded Americans. We'll take your calls next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than years. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. House Calls brings concierge. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Yeah, 94.9, The Fan.
Express yourself. Express yourself.
Kelly, we have a sellout.
Yes.
And one of them near the end, and we are going to get to him, is Tyron and Brentwood.
Ooh.
Yeah. But first,
Knicks had no shot. The Knicks had no shot.
No, we didn't forget Tyrone.
No, I guess we didn't. First, we start in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Hope you had a good weekend. I unfortunately got in the last 2 minutes of the Bob Kessling interview. Wanted to say I missed him announcing the UT games. And when I was in sports radio myself, he was always kind enough to come on my shows and I don't think he ever said no. So I always appreciated that. A couple things on my mind. One is the Dusty May decision to go to the NBA. I unfortunately think that's going to be the norm from now on because these college coaches at the top are tired of dealing with the NIL and the unlimited transfer portal. And I think it's the transfer portal more than the NIL. We've talked about this before, but like one transfer would be fine, but 2, 3, or 4 seems a bit excessive. They're literally our guys that have played on a different team every year. Last year in the SEC, there was one guy that played on his same college team for 4 years. So I think these guys, exception like Bobby or Danny Hurley, are probably going to, guys like May that have the chance are going to leave. I really thought he could be an all-time great. He's only like 50 or 51. I thought he could have won 4 or 5 titles before he retired. He took FAU to the Final Four. I mean, that says it all. That's like back in the day when like Cal State Fullerton won in baseball or Coastal Carolina won in baseball. I mean, FAU is a pretty small school, and that was awesome. You guys think that's going to be the norm? And I have one more thing, so if you would let me get to it after you answer. You guys think more and more coaches are going to start leaving?
I think there are a bunch right now that if they weren't a certain age would say, I am out of here. But some of them are sitting there saying, I need to make a certain amount more until I bolt. But none of them ever come out publicly and say, look, this system sucks. I'm tired of this, but I'm going to stay because I don't have any choice. So you're not getting the full picture of their level of dissatisfaction. The older ones are a little more honest, and they'll sit there and say, I didn't sign up for this.
I think given the opportunity to, George, with all the NIL stuff, there's no ramifications, there's no organization to anything in the NCAA. So they're already doing the NBA, and it's collectively bargained now. So, hey, why not go there where I've got some sense of I know what's going on, and I can probably make more money.
I don't know if at the top of the college world, I don't know if they will make more money in the NBA because the Power Four and the elite Power Four, like the top 15, those guys are making a lot of money. I think they like going to the NBA for, they don't have to recruit and build a new team every year, and it's just basketball. Agents in the front office handle the money. But one other thing I wanted to ask you guys about or bring up is I kind of get on a tangent every few years about a topic. 10 or 15 years ago, I was on the Chris Handler to the Hall. George might be the only one of you three that remembers him, but he was a 9-time Pro Bowler out of 12 seasons for the Redskins, and it took him forever to make the Hall of Fame, like as long as Pete Rose. But he finally got in, but I would call talk shows and bang on that when I was in the D.C. area. Another one was Rich Rod, back to my alma mater, WVU. I was saying that for 7, 8 years. It finally happened. I was using the prodigal son story. And I got one for you. All-time great overlooked player. If I tell you the resume, see if you can get the guy. And then I think you might agree with me. This may be the most underrated and forgotten great football player of all time. You guys ready?
Let's hear it.
2 2,000-plus yards rushing seasons in college, another 1,900-plus rushing season. He's 4th on the all-time rushing list in just 3 years of college football. He's still in the NFL, and he's a Pro Bowler there every year. Can you guys name him?
Is this running back from Wisconsin?
He is.
Oh, man. It's not Ron Dane, is it?
Ron Dane.
No, it's sooner than that because he's still in the NFL. They've had a lot of great running backs up there, that's for sure. Melvin Gordon, Dane.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
His name's Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
Didn't even really sniff a Heisman. I mean, 2,000 yards. You know, what was it? Ingram at Alabama, I think, won with about 1,500 yards. But if he plays his 4th year, you know, he's 4th on the all-time rushing list with over 6,000 yards. If he plays his 4th year, he gets like 8,000, maybe 8,500 yards, and will be way above the other guys. I was looking at a list the other day online. They put like the top 20 all-time college running backs. He's not on there, you know. 2 2,000-yard seasons and another 1,900-yard season, and they don't even list them.
Hey, I got to run. Good phone call.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Thank you.
See you, brother.
Let's go to Tony, in this case, number 2 in Nolensville. Tony, what do you got?
Know this. The Tonys that call your show bring it, buddy. Tony,
No question.
Tony Lawrence, Tony and Nolensville. We bring it, baby.
Well, and they're all your brothers.
Right. I'm going to try to find 10,000 more Tonys to call in.
Good. We need them.
Guys, this weekend, first of all, hope all the dads out there, Kelly, you had a good Father's Day. I did not mention that Friday, and I'm sorry about that. But as far as this weekend, the race that was in NASCAR that was out there at the Navy Air Base, really an unbelievable show. It was really neat. They went from regular streets to the runways to passing by a battleship and an aircraft carrier. It was really nice, and it was great to see all the military people come out and all the Navy and sailors and all them. They really took it all in. It was really a great show for America, I'll say that. Kelly, the golf outing in Shinnecock, it was fun to see them struggle like that a little bit and see that the golf course was a little bit tougher than them. To see these guys to have to fight the slope of the course, the terrain, the conditions, it was fun to see a real challenge that they were put through. And I think a lot of people really enjoyed seeing a good, hard, tough match like that with the PGA and the best in the world to have to play a round of golf, in that case, the tournament at that location. So I really thought that was really challenging. The scores indicate that. So that was great to see. George, question for you.
Okay, and then I got to run because I got a bunch of you on here.
I'm going to get off of here and let you go. Have you heard any updates? Coach Corbin was going to do what he called an audit of the baseball program. Have you heard anything of what he's done other than the 2 or 3 portal players that came in? I'll leave you alone. Let you get your call. See you guys.
Hey, thank you. My gut feeling is it's a lot more than 2 or 3 new names that are coming. I think there's a bunch going and a bunch coming, but I can't tell you a whole lot more than that. Dave is over in the Gulch. Dave, thank you for waiting.
I got a question about Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Who are some of the old announcers still around that do play-by-play for Major League Baseball?
The old announcers that are still around. Oh gosh, this is terrible. Hughes with the Cubs is one of them that's been around a long time, and I can't think of his first name, and he's a terrific broadcaster. The guy in Cleveland, and all of a sudden I'm having a senior moment on some of these guys. And Kelly, that's embarrassing. Oh gosh.
It's hard when you're put on the spot like that.
Yeah.
We talk about it with the stat of the day.
The guy in Cleveland got the Ford Frick Award a couple of years ago. Gosh, I know I'm missing some. Those are two right off the bat that would kind of qualify for where you're going.
Okay. Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to try and look them up. The guy in Chicago's been there for a good while, and I can't think of him. So old Tyron in Brentwood. My guess is that Kelly wants to talk to Tyron. Tyron, beware.
How you doing, gentlemen?
I'm good, Tyron. I mean, every time you make a bet, man, you tell us that somebody's going to win. The other team wins.
It's time to face the music. It started with the Super Bowl and then the Spurs. It's time to face the music.
You said the Knicks had no shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm on a losing streak. I mean, what can I say, man? I mean, the sports gods is just saying Tyron should be damned the last year and a half. I mean, with Duke taking the last two titles, and obviously, yeah, I remember the Patriots. Me and you had a little bit, and yeah, I said the Knicks didn't have a chance. And honestly, I mean, give the Knicks credit. Brunson, amazing story. It was one of them last Saturday night when they clinched the title. It was one of them where were you at moments, breaking the 53-year drought. I still cannot believe the Spurs had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. 3 of the 4 games they lost, and they couldn't bring it home. I mean, Wemby's got to bulk up, got to get stronger. They all got to mature more, including the coach. I mean, he didn't help them at all, none whatsoever. And but the Castle got to mature. I thought Harper played great, and for whatever reason, a couple of games didn't factor in down the stretch for us being in the game. So it was one of them things where the Knicks won it. They used their experience, and Brunson, Draymond Green, Becky Hammond, shut the hell up about a 6'2" guard can't lead a team to a championship. Shut up. I mean, if I can say I'm wrong, you two douchebags should be able to say you're wrong too, because that was just stupid.
You tell him.
Hey, George, congratulations. I guess you was eating some vanilla ice cream with orange and blue confetti and maybe some cracker nuts going, yes, and it counts. And they're the champs. So congratulations to you. I know you wanted to see it, Kelly, Parker. I was wrong. You was right. I'm going to say this real quick, if I can. This morning, Wendy was talking about how the Mavericks' first choice was John Shire, and they tried to talk him into leaving Duke, but he wouldn't go. I know Stephen A. had headlines saying Shire shouldn't leave until he finished the deal. When you're behind Mike Krzyzewski, you got to win the chip. But I'm going to tell you right now, and Kelly, you alluded to this last time we talked about a Duke topic shortly after they gagged the Connecticut game about how he replaced, the NBA players that went last year. I don't know if he is ever going to leave Duke, but I do believe this. The NBA wants him because the Bulls was after him too. That was reported by Wendy. But here's what I know. The minute he wins the national championship, whether it's crazy or not, and I believe it could be this year, they got another great team coming. Should be going for a three-peat, to be quite frank, but hey, that's neither here nor there. The minute he wins the championship, George, you think, given where the landscape is, given Mike Krzyzewski knocked it out the park, picking his successor, should they offer Shire a life contract? I mean, clearly the guy's ahead of time. I mean, he's won 24 and 25 in his 4 years. He's been in the Final Four, Elite 8, he's been the last 3 years has been Elite Eight, Final Four, Elite Eight, and we all know. I don't care if you hate Duke or not. You know, definitely one of these last 2 years they should have cut down the nets. Cooper Flags, Cameron Boozer. We all know the UConn game, the blown Houston game, but this guy, man, what they got coming this year, and they got a 17-year-old kid that's gonna be a German. By the NBA rules, he's got to stay for 2 years. I call him Boom Boom because I can't pronounce his name. But the minute Sean wins a national title this year, next year, if you Duke, it sounds crazy, George, but then sure, it may not help. But you may want to consider offering this guy a lifetime contract because, man, let me tell you, he is what Coach K knocked it out the park naming his successor, and this guy's got to figure it out. Now, I don't think this is just a 1-2 year thing. He's ahead of times, and NBA wants him for a reason. It's called he knows roster construction. He knows roster construction. So I'll hang up and listen off here. I know you're up against it, but I'm telling you, the only reason why Shaw ain't coaching Dallas probably is because Caden Boozer threw that stupid pass against UConn.
Going to be a lot of pressure on him, even with that gaudy record, that if they're close, they better close the deal.
I agree.
Otherwise, they're going to hear it.
The pressure is mounting. That's for sure.
We'll go to the break. Paul in Clarksville, hang with me. I will get to you. Jeff in Murfreesboro, it's iffy because we're close on time. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised, and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm, and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our football night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises.
At the Nashville Cats.
The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Caller asked earlier about older announcers on the big league level. Pat Hughes, of course, with the Cubs, been there forever. Tom Hamilton, the voice of the Guardians on radio, been there a long time, won the Ford Frick Award, I want to say 2 years ago. And the retiring Rick Riz, who has been there forever in Seattle. Those, I'm sure I'm missing one, but those are three that are long-termers. Let's go up to Clarksville. Paul is listening on our ESPN affiliate up there. Paul, how you doing?
Doing good, George. I hope you all had a good weekend. Had a good weekend myself. Really enjoyed the show today, getting to hear Dick Gabriel as well as Bob Kessling, and y'all talking about the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. I can't remember when you got inaugurated into the Hall of Fame, George. When was that again?
2022.
2022. And I know that you're on the board now. Is it you're the vice president of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame? Is that correct?
I will become, I think, July 1st. Look, it really, the title thing, I could care less about the title part.
Yeah.
But this is important to me. Radio has too important a past history in this state for this to die. And I'm bound and determined that we're going to see this thing through and really create something cool. And Bob's done a great job as president. So anyway, that's just me.
George, I find it incredible. I think these people who are in the radio for the amount of years in their tenure deserve to be celebrated in this way. And because you're on the board, I wanted to know the criteria of how y'all choose who gets in the Hall of Fame that specific year and kind of what that looks like when y'all discuss the criteria behind the scenes. Like, what does that look like for y'all?
There's a nomination process, and look, I may butcher this, but there's a nomination process where people who are members of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, that they are members of it, can put nominations in for people. Like, for example, this year, the class that will have Pete Weber in it, there were probably 50 nominees and 4 that went in. Then there's a small market category because we were told the small markets were getting kind of bypassed, and they were right about that. So I'm really happy that that's going on. If you will, only because I'm about out of time, call me back. I'll be glad to talk about this. This is something really important to me. I appreciate it, but I got to run.
Thanks, George. Have a good rest of the show.
It's quite a process, I'll say that. Let's finish up strong here.
Having some clicking on the graphics.
That's not finishing strong.
Here, 77-55 is the record tonight.
Okay, tonight I'm going to go Oklahoma to win the NCAA title in baseball. Got no proof of it, and I'm taking the White Sox at home against the Guardians. This is a huge series for a Chicago White Sox team that has come out of nowhere to compete. Tomorrow, Tony Basilio at 3:20. Belmont basketball coach Evan Brads at 4 o'clock to talk NBA draft. After all, he was on that Duke staff. He knows a lot about some of these players. Tomorrow.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 code